Isn't that something? Can you say that again?
I'm grateful to have had the brain injury
Mm,
because if I hadn't, it wouldn't have snapped me out of that
mm, wow.
way of being.
That's incredible. So you feel like there's obviously been um, a humbling. It's
For
been a
sure.
humbling experience.
Humbling experience. Big.
Wow, yeah. Well, welcome. If you're new to this channel, I create content that helps people with disabilities and those who support them who would like to secure employment, or maybe they're already working, maybe they're running a small business, but anything related to employment and making a living and people with disabilities. That is our focus here. And perhaps you've already seen some of the interviews that I've already been able to have with people. And today I have the privilege of meeting with my good friend, Kyle Hanna. And we're going to learn a little bit about Kyle and what disability he has and sort of what the world of work has been like for him. So we're so glad that you're here to see this today. And so, Kyle, thank you so much for meeting with me. I really appreciate this.
Not a problem.
Yeah, thank you. So, Kyle, if I think about how long we've known each other, I think it's about 6 years now.
About that, yeah.
Yeah, and I had the chance to do some on-the-job coaching with you way back in the day. Perhaps we'll get a
Yeah.
chance to talk about that as well. But Kyle, let's start with having you just tell us a little bit about yourself, like who you are and your family, stuff like that.
Sure. I'm the oldest of three kids.
Okay.
Um, my technically, I guess it's four kids, but my sister, my oldest sister,
Mhm.
is of my mother's.
Okay, yeah. Yep.
So
So your mother had your sister first. Yeah.
yeah, I didn't know about her until like recently too.
Oh, okay. So a
Yeah,
surprise. All right.
yeah. I mainly went through life being the oldest child.
All right. All right. Yeah. You went from being the oldest child to now being like the second, but still.
Yeah.
All right. That's great. And so okay, so your other siblings then are all like you're their brothers.
I have one brother that's full blood,
Okay.
and then I have a half sister
Mhm.
and a stepbrother.
All right. And I know that you're really close with your dad.
I am, yes.
Got a great relationship with your dad. That's great. And just before we jumped on here, we were talking about your awesome room. I was saying how much I really liked the color. And
Yeah,
yeah,
yeah.
and that's been a recent change for you.
It has, yeah.
Yeah.
It's something I've been doing with my dad. My dad's been doing a
Oh,
bunch of like renovating of the house. So
nice. That's
yeah,
nice. Do you
yeah.
like that kind of work?
When it goes well, I do.
Yeah. I think so many could relate to that. The thing about renovations, and many listeners will understand, you get into something, then
Mhm.
you're on to something else, or like you don't know what's behind that something, right? What will
Yeah,
come up next? Yeah. So, oh, well, good for you for giving it a shot.
yeah,
I'm sure your dad appreciates the help.
yeah. Mm.
Yeah. Awesome. Okay. So it's nice to know a little about you and your family. And I guess before we even jump into getting into the meat and potatoes of why we're here, I'm curious to know then have you met your sister that you just learned about?
I have, yes.
Oh, that's nice. That's good. Okay. So I was just a little curious. I love like family and family history and family connections and stuff. So yeah,
Yeah,
that's cool. I guess even before we get into like your disability, Kyle, how old are you?
I am 34.
34. All right. And I'm always surprised at that. I think Kyle will know I used to think he was in his early 20s forever. But that serves you well, right, Kyle?
Yeah, I guess so.
There you go. And okay, so and I asked that question because Kyle is again somebody who has not always had a disability, or at least had the disability that we're going to focus on today. But I don't think that you had a disability even before then, right? Would
No,
you say? No. Okay. So now, how old were you before we talk about what your disability is? How old were you when you had when you got the disability?
I was 23, I believe.
23. All right. Okay.
Mhm.
And so now, I'm sorry, you said you were 34?
Yes.
34. Okay. All right. So just, yeah, just over 10 years then.
Yeah.
And so, okay. So what is your disability, Kyle? Tell us about it.
My disability is, I believe it's called an anoxic brain injury,
Okay.
which is when your brain is starved of oxygen.
Okay. Yeah.
So, yeah, for the longest time, I was living a lifestyle of excess partying all the time, drinking drugs.
Mhm.
And that finally led to me having a vasovagal syncope attack
Mhm.
and collapsing into the toilet in the bathroom. That's where I smashed my head.
Mhm.
I essentially drowned, was
Mhm.
found by my roommate at the time. He called 911.
Mhm.
Paramedics came, resuscitated me, and then I went through rehab and
All right. And the rest is history,
yeah,
right?
yeah.
What an incredible story. I just want to say, first of all, I'm so glad that you're still with us, of course. Um, because yeah, so are you. Now, can we just go back a bit? Because I know you used a term there that I'm not familiar with, that you ended up having a certain an attack.
Vasovagal.
What is it again? Sorry.
Vasovagal.
Okay. And could you like, can you explain that a little bit more?
I basically I lost consciousness. It's kind of a fancy way of saying fainted.
All right. Okay. Nope, that's all right. Yeah, I appreciate that. I have never heard of that before. So, okay, and I'm also really obviously glad it sounds like your roommate was with it and reacted really quickly because of course things could have been a lot worse, right? Yeah,
Oh,
a lot worse. So, wow. Okay, so I'm so glad you're here. I know that obviously your dad is, your family in general, they're all really glad you're
yeah.
here. So you go through, you end up now with an acquired brain injury, is what you're really dealing with, right? I know I never really planned to ask this in the questions that I sent you, but can you just describe for us what it was like when you here you are now, you would have woken up, right? And so what was that like for you in the beginning of waking up and then realizing that life is different now?
Very surreal.
Mm,
Very frustrating at first.
yeah.
And
Yeah.
not not being able to do the things that I was able to do for such a long time.
Sure.
Just having so much frustration around basically accepting that I have a brain injury now.
Yeah, I hear that very often from people with an acquired brain injury, that of course the earlier days, whatever early is, early could be for some people, it could be the first couple of weeks, it could be the first few months, it could be the first 5 years, but whatever early is, that the frustration is the hardest part. The frustration of coming to the realization that, oh, I either can't do that anymore or that doesn't come as easily as it used to.
Right.
Yeah. And that's all part of the healing and the acceptance, right?
Which is where I'm at now.
All right. All right. I'm looking, I keep knocking my wire to my mic, but okay. Amateur YouTuber here, guys, interviewer, but I'm working on it. All right, stick with me. So yeah, and I'm really excited to get into that, for you to be able to have that piece about where you are now and acceptance and stuff. And it's been quite a journey. So
Yes.
yeah, that's awesome. So then just tell us a little bit about what life was like then. So here you are, you wake up and you're like, okay, you're really frustrated. You realize there's now a difference. So what was life like for you? You've already alluded to it. You were partying, and that sort of thing. Is there anything else that you want to add about what life was like before the brain injury for you?
I was very self-absorbed, very
Mhm.
like,
Yeah.
mm, for lack of a better term, I'll say narcissistic.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
I didn't empathize very well with people
Mhm.
that now I find myself getting frustrated with how I was back then. Like,
Yeah, yeah, yeah. And you know what? I think a lot of 23-year-olds could, not all, but a lot of 23-year-olds could relate to that, right? We sort of feel like we're invincible. Um, maybe we think we know everything.
mhm.
Yeah. And so now you're looking back at that and going, yeah, I didn't really like that person.
Exactly, yeah.
All right. All
If
right.
anything, I'm thankful for the brain injury for kind
Mm.
of snapping me out of that.
Isn't that something? Can you say that again?
I'm grateful to have had the brain injury
Mm,
because if I hadn't, it wouldn't have snapped me out of that
mm. Wow.
way of being.
So that's incredible. So you feel like there's obviously been um, a humbling. It's
For
been
a
a humbling experience.
humbling experience. Big.
Wow. Yeah. Isn't that something? Thank you for saying that. That's incredible, Kyle. Okay. So then when you look back at your life before too, what were some of the goals that you had for yourself? Did you have any? What's that look like?
I I wanted to be a, a famous like movie director or a famous musician, but I would drink and do drugs instead, and then just kind of let that go to the wayside.
All right. All right. So you had like these maybe grandiose ideas
Yes.
about what you would be able to accomplish, but even I can relate to having to learn, or the real discipline, even now in my life, like still learning the real discipline of, if I want something tomorrow, then what am I doing today
Yeah.
to accomplish that, right?
Yep.
Like, yeah, I don't think I fully even grasped that myself at 23, right? I probably had all these ideas, and that somehow we think it's just going to happen.
Yeah.
And yeah, we don't realize the, okay, one step, one foot in front of the other.
Yeah.
But
Well,
isn't it true, like you're saying, when you have something happen to you, like an acquired brain injury, and I have had a similar experience in my life, that it taught me, just like you're saying, humility, and it taught me to do things one step at a time
yes.
and to accomplish something,
To
right?
take baby steps.
Baby steps, and to accomplish those things that we take for granted.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, totally. Maybe one day I'll share I think maybe I will share the story here of exactly what I'm saying too. But again, not an acquired brain injury, but something similar that would have had me in the same position.
Yeah.
Okay, so now you've mentioned already, now life is getting better. You've come to this place of acceptance. Tell me about that and that journey, what that's been like for you.
Well, it's a lot of spirituality
Yeah, that's
practice.
all right. You know what?
Uh,
Um, you can you can be as direct as you would like to about that.
okay.
Yeah, absolutely.
It's a lot of like meditation,
Mm-hmm.
a lot of silencing the inner critic.
Mm. Mm-hmm.
Because my inner critic was loud and would not
Yeah.
stop. Like
Wow.
I
Wow.
gripped in fear and guilt and shame
Mm-hmm.
for so long.
And what do you think, Kyle? What do you think even helped you to realize that that critic needed to be silenced and or that it could be silenced? Because I know that there are people who are thinking right now that they can't control their thought life, right? And
Oh,
I'm not talking to the person who's dealing with obsessive compulsive disorder or dealing with a mental health issue, right? Not that's not who I'm talking to. But I'm talking to the person who maybe isn't dealing with something like that, but they have these strong critical voices. So, how did you know that like, all right, I just have to get some control here?
basically, I started watching videos on YouTube that had to do with whatever sort of symptoms I was
Mm,
experiencing.
yeah.
And I found one particular YouTuber who just kind of put into my head that you can tell that inner critic to shut up. You're not your thoughts.
Wow.
You're the observer of your thoughts.
Yeah.
That was a game changer for me.
Isn't that something? This light bulb went on.
Yeah,
That's incredible. And I love that you're saying like that that came from a YouTube channel, a YouTuber, and not like more so because there is this world of wealth out there now that we have at our fingertips like that, and that you can get this information that can really be helpful if you use it in the right way.
exactly. Yes.
Okay, so that was a game changer. And then tell me a little bit about the ball that gets rolling after that. And now like you're at this place.
The ball that got rolling was like changing your mindset, changing your habits. I went from like playing video games all day to now, I'm reading all the time.
Mm,
I I was terrified of going out. I had huge social anxiety. I
mm,
would just like to like stay in my safety bubble of my,
mm-hmm.
but I find the more I broke out of that pattern, the better life got.
Mm.
And so I've also been like encouraged to like move my body more rather than be sedentary and
Mm.
yeah.
Yeah.
that a lot of the for the longest time I had pain in the back of my shoulder. And since starting karate and going to the gym, eating healthier, and just not, like I said, silencing that inner critic, I don't have that pain anymore.
Wow, that's incredible. I'm so happy for you, Kyle.
Yeah, it
That's
took a lot of work,
great.
but
What's that?
it took a lot of work to get there.
Well, and you know what? That's exactly it. It does take work, right? And I think that that's really important for people to know. And now that you're on this side of all the really hard work, not to say that you'll never have that again, I
Yeah,
know, but like now that you're on this side of that, it's all worth it, right?
all worth it. Yes.
Yeah, that's awesome. You have a lot more freedom in your mind.
Yep.
You have a lot more freedom in your social life because you're willing to go out, right?
Yep.
And just a lot more freedom physically because you don't have that pain.
Hmm.
That's amazing. I'm really, really happy for you. Thank you for sharing that with us. Now, we're going to get into a bit more around employment. So since having your injury, actually, I should ask, did you have a job before you got your injury?
No.
Okay, so you had never worked before.
Oh, I had worked before. I just at the
Oh,
time I wasn't working.
okay, okay. So when you think about the difference between working before your injury and after, tell me about what that's like, what it has been like for you.
It's a lot. My energy gets sapped a lot quicker. Um, I find that so long as I'm working for a good boss,
Mhm.
then I don't mind doing sort of the like dirty work.
Mhm. Mhm.
Whereas before I would have had an objection to doing that kind of work.
Mhm. Mhm.
I was above.
Okay. All right. All right. I got you. Yeah, all comes with the attitude you were talking about that you had before,
Right.
right?
Yeah.
And that now that you have been humbled, now you're like, all right, I am grateful to try to do different things that I am now able to do and
Yes.
capable of doing. So you mentioned your energy level. Just so anybody who knows who's listening to this, Kyle is going to tell us a little bit about some of the work that you're doing now, but Kyle's also open to securing other employment. Now, that being said, it would be part-time employment, right, Kyle?
Yes.
Just for the sake of your energy level. And when you think about how many hours per day right now that you could work, I realize it probably depends on the type of work you're doing,
Yeah.
how strenuous it is. But would it be fair that about 4 to maybe 5 hours a day would be about what you would do? And then you might do that about 3 or 4 days a week,
Yeah.
somewhere in there. Yeah. So pretty part-time, 15 to 20 hours, right? A week. Okay. And so yeah, so we're going to talk about the type of work as well that Kyle would be interested in if you're looking again to hire somebody. What I can tell you is that Kyle has an incredible attitude, and I would be glad to hire him for our business, which is Plots of Love, a cemetery gardening business. That is actually who this channel is sponsored by. So if you decide, sorry, if you have a family member or a loved one laid to rest in the Niagara region, and you would like us to put a garden in for you, then by all means, you can connect with me at info@plotsoflove.ca. And then we can help you get set up. But when you do that, you're also helping people with disabilities to secure employment. And I personally love Kyle's attitude. I know that he's going to show up, he's going to be there, and he's going to give it his all. So I would have no problem hiring him, and I have no problem referring him. Next, Kyle, I'm really curious to know, what has it been like for you to secure and maintain employment since having an acquired brain injury? What's that been like for you?
It's been fairly difficult. A lot of that reasoning is because of my mindset, I think. But everyone that I've had that's employed me has been great. Like the
Yep, that's really interesting. I think, like, first of all, I really appreciate that you would say, yeah, everybody that's employed you has been great, but you're realizing that you had such a negative self-critic, going on. It really lessens, obviously lowers your confidence, lowers your initiation level, your willingness to go the extra mile, because you're probably thinking, well, I'm just going to suck anyway, so why bother?
yeah, that negative self-talk.
Yeah, wow. It will be so awesome now, like so amazing to see. I know you're already doing something. I do want to talk about that too, as I say, but and when you do connect with an employer, more traditional employer, because I really like what you're dabbling in right now. But this, when you get into this more traditional employment again, what it's going to be like for you, you're going to be the one who really notices the difference, of course, right?
Because I'm in such a different headspace now.
Yeah. You bring up a really good point, because sometimes um, our disability can be our own self-talk, like
Yeah,
or like the thing that can hold us back even more than a disability can be our own self-talk and our own self-image, right?
yeah.
Yeah. All right. So now let's see. My next question for you. Um, Who or what has been the most helpful person or thing, a strategy or a person? What's been the most helpful when you have been securing and or maintaining employment? Sorry, I should say post injury. So after having your injury.
The most helpful thing has probably been people's patience.
Mm,
Because I struggle with processing information.
yeah,
That's why it takes so long to get out.
yeah, yeah,
But yeah,
yeah. Honestly, I think that people with disabilities and even just people in general appreciate that. I think that would be nearly the top answer of what has been the most helpful is patience, because we live in a world that moves incredibly fast.
very fast. Yes.
It's it's only like faster, right?
Yeah.
And so it's getting so much faster. And then it's just such a relief when you're surrounded by people who can just slow it down
Yes.
and allow you the space that you need to have. Yeah. To
Yeah.
succeed.
Yeah. For me, like slowing down has been exactly what I needed
Yeah. Yeah.
from going from like racing a million thoughts a minute to be
Mhm.
present,
Yeah.
slowing slowing down thoughts.
Hmm.
It makes it easier to get more significant information out.
Mhm.
Mhm.
Yep. No, that's awesome. Slowing down is really important. So do you feel like, Kyle, that you would have, um, I guess you wouldn't have any problem at this point, like just asking people to do that. So if you're on the job and you say to your manager, your coworkers, I just need to I need to slow down, or could you please slow down so that I can process this?
Or give me step-by-step instructions.
Mm,
And that's really helped. My one job,
mm,
that's what they did. They gave me a breakdown of different steps
yeah,
that would eventually lead to an overall goal being accomplished.
that's great. I think I remember that. A list of the smaller tasks. And that list can be given to you. And I think this is really important for employers to know, because that that list then helps you to be independent, and it helps them to be able to do what they need to do. Nobody needs to stand there and make sure that you're processing it, but that you have your list. You can literally check it off and go, yep, I did that, I did that. Because your disability doesn't prevent you in this case. Like, you are able to read, you are able to follow the list, you're
Mhm.
able to do the task. It just doesn't necessarily process very quickly, like you're saying.
Yeah,
So would you get to a point then, Kyle, if you were given a list to complete, would you get to a point that that list would become second nature, or like you would remember it?
for sure. I think, um, yeah,
Yeah,
I think if I did it enough times,
yeah. So you
it
could
would,
retain it. It just may take longer
yes,
than somebody else. And so what's the harm in having the list anyway, right? It's helping you to succeed and helping you to get the job done that the employer needs to have done.
yeah,
Yeah, makes sense to me. So, and just so I just want to say this as well, that the burden to create the list doesn't even have to be on the employer. Yeah, they need to be able to help break it down, but there are employment consultants, employment coaches, job coaches. In this case, Kyle experienced that as well, that helped create the list on behalf of him and the employer. So, so yeah. So like, if somebody can benefit from an employment coach or a job coach being on the job with them, why not? It alleviates the pressure from the employer to have extra manpower while training you. Um, and so that employment coach gets to be, for lack of better wording, they get to be like your brain for you in that moment.
the backup brain, yeah.
Right? The backup, that's right. That's even better. The backup brain, so that, and then they can fill in whatever those pieces you might be missing. And again, creating the list or creating whatever tools it is that's going to help, whatever tools they are. So it's going to help you be successful.
If I'm the computer, they're the USB.
That's a great way to put it. That's great. Just plug them in for a little bit. Here's a
Yeah.
little tool, and you can remove them whenever you want to.
Yeah.
I like that. I like that one. Even better. Okay, so now my next question for you would be, um, so when you're on the job, this, you know what, this is sort of the same. I think you've already kind of answered this one. It was specifically about your manager and your coworkers. What have they been that's helped you the most? And that would be patience, I think, is the same kind
Patience,
of idea. Okay. And in general, what do you like most about having a job? Why does it even matter?
it's a sense of purpose,
Yeah.
having
Yeah.
something to go to interact with people and accomplish a common goal.
Mhm. Yeah.
That's basically what I like about having a job.
Awesome. And I think many people would obviously, they would agree with that as well. When we're teaching, when I have been teaching job search workshops, and I say we, all my coworkers in the past and who still are, um, we often taught the value in having a job far exceeds just the paycheck.
For sure.
Mhm. Yeah. Friendships, connecting, right?
Yes.
Socializing. Yeah, it's all really important. Like you're saying, that's a big one to feel useful, use your skills and talent, feel like you're contributing to the world around you.
Yeah.
Yeah. We all have something to offer. Whether we do something a little bit slower than somebody else, we still have something to offer and we still want to be part of that. So I think that it's I'm pretty close to wanting to know. Before I get on, actually, yeah, before I get on to this very last question, I do want to hear what it is that you're involved in right now. You were talking about.
Right now, my friend who basically took me in and gave me this job that I'm at now.
Awesome. And what are you doing? Oh,
Um,
sorry.
my dog going nuts.
Oh, you know what? I can't hear him.
Really?
Nope. I know. You would think I have the same thing here. Thankfully, I locked them out of
Yeah,
the
I
living
locked
room.
my name.
I know. But they can see a leaf fall in the front window and yeah, they're going crazy. So, yeah, but
But yeah,
no,
it's a thrifting and a reseller business. It's called Hook and Thimble, and we're open every Sunday at the Niagara Flea Market.
that's awesome.
So it's basically a retail job.
Yep. Yeah. And so you're helping with that.
And then halfway through the day, I go help with the cafeteria of the flea market. So I clean bathrooms, bus tables.
Do you really? Is that like, how did you get connected with that? Is that a different employer or is your friend somehow connected with that as well?
My friend is somehow connected to the flea market,
Okay.
separate employer, but like,
Yep. Okay, that's good though. So you're getting with your friend, you're doing customer service.
yeah,
You're doing some cash, are you?
I am, yeah,
Okay. And are you helping with her display and setting things up?
yes.
That's great. And then is there anything else I've missed with her booth that you are currently doing? Like, do you help her purchase things or carry her stuff into the flea market?
I do that, yeah.
All of the above.
I also do cleaning and vacuuming of the booth.
That's good.
Um,
That's
yeah,
great. Yeah, no, that's great. Everything from, like you're saying, customer service, cleaning, cash, and then you're going over, these are some really great skills here. And then you're going over to the cafeteria, you're clearing tables, obviously wiping down tables, right? Are you sweeping floors there?
uh, yeah, that's actually one of the like main tasks is sweeping the floor. There's sweeping the floors in the bathrooms as well. Um, yeah,
That's great. Are you changing garbages? Like, is there anything else within the cafeteria?
changing garbages, cleaning the bathroom, wiping down the mirror, toilet. Um,
Awesome. That's awesome. When you when you clear the tables, where do you bring, is it trays and dishes or is it trays and garbage?
Trays and garbage, maybe.
Okay. All right. And so the trays, are you cleaning those?
No, I just take those to the kitchen
Mhm.
and wipe down the table.
All right. All right. That's awesome. Well, again, if you're an employer and or you know of somebody who's hiring, and they're looking for somebody that has Kyle's skill set, because Kyle also enjoys working with animals. So Kyle has worked in a pet store before. And remind me, Kyle, I know you sent it in your message, but I think there were a couple other things that you would be interested in doing. Just before you say that, though, if you, sorry, I cut you off there. But so if you're hearing his skill set and that suits what you need or somebody you know needs, then you can actually get a hold of me at info@plotsoflove.ca and I'll make sure that you get connected to Kyle. So Kyle, go ahead. What else would you be interested in doing?
Anything involving animals, animal care, uh, grooming.
Mhm.
I, I would have to learn how to do that, but that would be something I'd be interested in.
That's really cool.
Um,
And I want to say like Kyle is, you're such a gentle person. So like I would trust Kyle with my own animals. And I have a lot. So I have 3 dogs, 2 cats, and 2 bunnies and a turtle. And so I would definitely trust Kyle with my animals. So if you're thinking about again needing somebody to help in that area, then he's your guy. So and then what else you were saying? Animal care.
and then anything in the film industry type of work.
Yep. Yeah. Any
That's always been a big goal slash dream of mine.
so like around editing.
Um, I need some practice with editing, but yes,
Okay. And then when you say filming, are you also interested in anything related to like even stage theatrical arts, like acting? What's that? What's that like?
yeah, I don't know about acting. Like it, yeah, I could do that.
All right. Or are you more like the prop guy, the light guy?
I think I more the director, the guy kind of overseeing everything.
Yeah. You see the big picture.
Yes, yes,
All right. All right. There might even be opportunity for you to volunteer for something like that too.
yeah.
I know of a small theater company. Well, maybe hey, they're hopefully they're getting bigger, but they are the Young Actors Association at Niagara. And my kids were in a couple other plays, or one or two plays. I can't remember, maybe one. But they are really good at bringing people in who love theater and giving them roles that they would really like to do. So I just wonder, Kyle, if perhaps we were to connect with them and they may have like it would be a volunteer position, but perhaps allow you to come alongside their director and actually do some of that.
I'd definitely be interested in that. Yep.
Yeah. All right. Well, then I will see what we can do and we'll see if we can get you guys connected.
All right.
So, last but not least, and I have thoroughly enjoyed this interview, Kyle. I cannot wait until we do it again because I'm sure we'll want to have a follow up and see how things are going. I really appreciate all of your time and all of your sharing. And I'm sure that the things that you've said are already going to help. Just like that YouTuber saying that one thing planted a seed in you, and then just this ripple effect of growth in your life. Fantastic. So
Mhm.
now you've got the chance. Okay. So now before I ruin my laptop and throw it off of my little stand here. What would you tell someone else who would like to work but is afraid of job searching, or maybe they're just afraid of actually getting a job and working?
Um, Face the fear and do it anyway.
Face fear and do it anyway. Love it. Do it afraid,
Do it afraid, exactly.
right?
Because
Yeah.
just fear's just going to keep you from any sort of opportunity.
Yeah. Nothing good ever came from fear,
No.
right? Nope. Nope. When I was afraid to change jobs, I had uh, a good friend say that to me when I was like, oh, but should I really go to a different job? This was actually before I came to left the Y and went to BICR where I met you. And that was a big deal because I was there for 16 years. I was there for so long and changing jobs. It was like, oh my gosh. And then, pardon me. And then, yeah, that like, well, nothing good ever came from fear, right? So don't let that hold you back.
But yeah, I'd just like to say, like, don't be afraid.
Mhm.
Opening up the, the things that you are most afraid to share are things that will likely be embraced. Like,
Wow, that is
what's
so
most personal is most universal.
wow. I've never actually heard that before said like that. I get the concept, Kyle. That is really encouraging and true. We usually feel like we're the only ones, right?
Yeah,
And it'll be like, well, I'm not going to tell them because they won't like me. Gosh, I might even get fired or whatever.
yeah.
Whatever our self-talk is saying, right? Our
Mhm.
negative self-talk. So I'm sure, Kyle, you would say that like if you are afraid, you might even want to look at what are you afraid of?
And follow the trail of whys.
Mm,
Instead of,
mhm,
I'm afraid what now? It should be, I'm afraid why.
yeah,
Then when you answer that question, well, why that?
yeah, yeah,
You
yeah,
go back,
yeah.
you get to the root of the problem.
Right. Yes, the root of the problem, right? And that's the work. That's the hard work you're talking
That,
about.
yeah, that's the work.
Yeah. Because people don't really want to face that. That is scary, right?
Yeah,
It's like, because then as soon as I learn something about myself, I either have to live with it in that misery or whatever it is, right? Knowing all the while, or I have to do something about it and begin to
yeah,
change. And our brains are thought life, not just the physical structure of our brain, but our thought life is a muscle. Like there's a muscle in there, right? And so if we have always been thinking negative things, and I'm sure you can attest to this, Kyle, then
mhm,
that's become like the easy way of life. But to start thinking good things, positive things, um, it takes a new muscle work. You got to build that up, right?
yeah.
Yeah.
One of the things that I've found for hacking my brain sort of
Mhm.
is the system called BETDAR, and that stands for beliefs, which trigger emotions, which trigger thoughts, which trigger you to make a decision, and then take action on that decision.
Mm.
That leads to a result, and the result reinforces the belief.
Love it. Love it. I've actually heard something very similar, exactly the same thing. When I learned of something like that, it was the Wonder if I'm gonna get it right. I want to say HTR, but happening. Oh, this is a little bit different. It's a little bit different in the fact that something happens to you
Mhm.
and then your thought or belief about it, right? So it's more reactionary. And then that thought or belief affects the reaction. So it's
Yeah,
sort of like we can have the same thing happen to us, but then our thoughts or beliefs about it are going to have our reaction. Just like you're saying, your beliefs are what get all of those things moving forward, right?
right.
Like that domino effect.
Yep.
Wow, this has been incredible, Kyle. I am so excited about where your life is headed. I'm really happy for you. You can see it in your smile. That's great.
Yeah.
I so look forward to seeing, yeah, like where you're headed and where you're going to go and being able to follow up with you and hear some great things. So I wish you all the best. And thank you so much for doing this interview with me today.
My pleasure.
All right. Well, I just want to thank you all for watching this interview with Kyle. And just remember that, as I said, this channel is sponsored by Plots of Love. It's a cemetery garden and decor service in the Niagara region. And we're here to help you honor your loved ones that are laid to rest in this area. So we would definitely love to hear from you if you would like our services. And as well, this channel is here to support people with disabilities who would like to secure employment or already in employment. We want to hear from you. So we thank you so much and we wish you all well. Take care. Until next time.
See you later.